Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Sande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I'm very excited and I'm honored to share a sacred conversation with Jessica Dugas, and I welcome you within this sacred space.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with you today. I don't often get to swim in the woo pool, as we say, as often as I used to, and so this is going to be fun today, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm really looking I think it's almost 2 weeks ago, 1.5 weeks from the moment of recording, we recorded a beautiful podcast on your platform on the powerful eclipse about joy codes. So now I'm excited to share another conversation with you and also share your story, because you have created this amazing platform where you get to inspire others, the Breakthrough Network show. And if you want to find out more, I would recommend to look all the links below. But what sparked for you to step on this path to inspire others and empower others? And yeah.
You know, it's interesting because when I've told my story before, I've shared with people that I'm not really sure how I got here.
No, yeah.
I'm not really sure how it's happened. However, as I look back in my life, I do really see this pattern of me trying to just put a smile on people's faces. And I think over time, it's been interesting because a lot of folks in the personal and spiritual development world like to talk about being a people pleaser. And I have been pinned as that before. However, when I really look at myself in my life, it's not about being a people pleaser in the normal sense of the phrase. It's about, I just want to see a smile on people's faces. I just want to see a world of shiny, happy people. I performed on stage from the time I was really young, singing and acting and things like that. And so everything that I've done leading up into this point has been about just wanting to bring a smile to people, wanting to bring a little more joy in the world. So I say that I guess specifically what I'm doing now is sort of an accident and I'm not really sure. But at the same time, there's that theme that's been playing throughout my whole life of just wanting to see a better world.
Yeah, I love that. But also it's a kind of preparation, because it's sometimes in our journeys, like we don't know why we're doing certain things or why we're being guided to certain things. But I love how all these experiences in your life are coming together in what you're creating now. And I think it's also a thin line between being a people pleaser or be like coming from overflow, because I feel that that's more like for you, you're taking good care of yourself, and then you also have more to give to others, and that's the space where we get to share and inspire others and bring a smile on. But it's a centeredness within yourself, or like a foundation that is there, where it's not coming over your boundaries, or where you're not giving parts of yourself away, but it's just your greater mission of sharing your light, your truth in your unique way with the world. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see that a lot actually, where people who are really spending their energy of trying to make the world a better place are pinned as people pleasers. And so I ended up writing this article for Aspire magazine at one time, referring to being a people pleaser as a superpower so that we can kind of reframe that a little bit. I think we do always need to be cautious of our boundaries and of how we're spending our energy and making sure we're doing things that we're doing from a place place of love and joy and not from
Yes.
a place of should or have to.
Yes.
And so that's really where that line is. But if we see the heart of people, most people are just, they're doing what they're doing because they want a better world. They
Mhm.
want to see, more joy in the world. And so I reframed it and reframed it.
I
And
love
I
that.
said, I'm
Yes.
not going to let anybody tell me what I am. So I'm just going to put it in
No.
my own way.
Yes, but I think that's beautiful because it's really also letting go of so many ideas we've been
Yeah.
picking from the collective or from, because if we stop doing that, it's like, okay, then we get this world where a lot of us are disconnected or are not in.
Mm,
I think it's a beautiful mission, but it comes from a place of just overflow, or it comes from a totally different. And I think that's, I think also in you, like you're also confident in what you're sharing. Like you're sharing
mm,
from your heart, from your truth, and then it's a totally different space than if you're doing it to be part of the group, or if you're doing it
right.
to get like confirmations, or there's a different word, but if you're validation of others, like you're just showing up as you, and in that you're bringing a smile. But it can already be as walking on the street and just smiling to someone. That's also a beautiful gift, and that's not like people pleasing. No, we're just pretty, like if we would label it that way, then we're in a very tough world, if that's really the, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Isn't that
how
interesting? Go
yes.
ahead.
No, isn't that
No, I was
interesting?
just going to say, isn't it interesting that we sometimes have to work towards being ourselves? That we
Yes.
have to work towards that authenticity. It should just be we just are. And we
Yeah.
have so much conditioning and so many things that weigh on us about who we should and shouldn't be. And even looking in the screen, so I have a little bulletin board right here that
Hmm.
I have so many things on it. And I actually spent a lot of time before I put that up going, maybe it looks a little messy, maybe, and then I'm like, but I am a little messy.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
but it's me. It's like I could sit here and I can overthink it and go, what do people think that they can't even see like the things on there because I have so many things. But it's just who I am. And if you don't like the how my bulletin board works, you don't have to watch. It's not,
No. Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
that complicated.
But what helped you to step up in that space? Because it is because we're here. I'm all about that. We're here to embody and share our uniqueness with the world, and in a way to just say bleep, like it doesn't matter what happens there, because when you're truly aligned with yourself and you're in this joyful space, you get to be the change. So you just accepting like this is who I am, and if people resonate, it's beautiful, and if not, that's also okay, because it's then not aligned to be in this connection. But what supported you in your journey to come into this space of, okay, where you're placing this, like this is who I am, accept it or not, and then you have a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I think for me, it's realizing it's not like everything else in my life. It's not been an arrival. It's
Yeah.
giving myself grace in moments where outside comments do affect me. Outside comments do like there's I would be I feel like I would not be human if I just brushed everything off and say, well, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't bother me. That wasn't a nice thing to say, but great. Like that
Yeah.
just doesn't feel human to me. And so it's giving myself grace to choose moment to moment to be authentic, that to recognize like the thoughts that I had with the bulletin board of going like, okay, why is that something like that holding me back? And then making the choice to go, okay, no, I'm going to allow myself to be who I am in this moment. And so I think my whole thing is giving myself the grace to make those moment to moment choices and not beat myself up for the moments when things do affect me because I'm a human being that also has feelings.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I wrote a post, I think yesterday, or like, let yourself feel, because it's your superpower, and it really is, and it's not judging also the feelings that are coming or our humanness. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, and I think I love the grace as well, because we're sometimes so pushed in also in this society, like you need to be harder and stronger, you need to do more, and you need to like show up in a strong way. But there's so much power in our vulnerability, and just embracing, because then we don't let the energy get stuck, but then we just allow it to flow, and we get, yeah, it's going much easier out of us. But I also love, because you're a mom of six children,
Yes.
so I think it's wow what you're creating, and then also being a mom of six and juggling both, because yeah, I think that's amazing as well, because sometimes there's also the belief like, okay, I will start my business when the children are older, or
Yes.
I know it myself. It's just, it's when you have this mission or this passion within yourself, there's always a way to create, yeah,
Right.
what you feel
Right.
called. Yeah.
I think my work has made me a better mom. My
Yeah.
work has made me a better wife. I leave every show that I do a better person than I was before I pushed play or record or broadcast or whatever else. Uh, I I I had a guest on my show one time by the name of Daniel Bruce Levin, and I don't know if you've ever seen him before or heard of him, but he has a book called The Mosaic. And the idea of this book is it follows a little boy through the story who's one of his parents passes away, and he's trying to find like the meaning of life, which is it's a very profound, but it's not a difficult read by any means. And it's this concept that we are a mosaic. Each of
Mm.
us is a mosaic. We are beautifully pieced together by every person, every circumstance, even fictional characters, all of these different things that are in our awareness, that we become a mosaic of all of those things.
Yeah.
And so I really don't, I don't think that I intended on being I certainly didn't intend on being a mom of six. That was but I don't think I ever intended like to set out to say I'm going to be a mom of six that has her own business and is running all over the place and
No.
doing all of these things. It's just the way that it happened, and but it's been the most beautiful experience because like any mom, I still get it wrong sometimes. I still have those moments when I'm like, that's probably wasn't my best mom moment. I and I'm hard on myself. I really am. That's something that I'm I'm working on.
Yeah.
But having my shows and doing my work every single episode, I'm a better person than I was the last time, and I can only just hope that my kids see that when they grow up and
Yeah.
go like, "Oh my god, my mom was always on these shows all the time and I don't really know what was happening." I hope that they see my own transition into being a better mom as has gone on because of the work that I've done in the world.
Yeah, it is, but it's also Bell. I noticed it as well because my girls, like in the Netherlands, because I do a lot of things also with the USA, and so time differences. So when they go to bed, I'm starting a lot of my things.
Yeah.
So they always say, "Oh, my mom is working at night," or there's always. But it's in the end, it is because I love about sharing these conversations and these podcast episodes, and it really inspires and it uplifts all of us. Each time you get beautiful keys and inspiration, and it's truly a gift. So that also supports us in all areas of our lives in beautiful ways. So yeah, but it's really an invitation to follow your passion, because sometimes
Mm.
what I also notice is like there are so many things we want to do, but it's truly coming back to, okay, what do I really find important and what really fulfills me? And sometimes it's letting go of the need of doing a lot of things for the outside world, or yeah, but it's letting go of certain things so that you can really follow this passion, and then you have time also for your family and all of that. But it's I think it's sometimes the concession part, like people want to hold on to everything that was already
Mm.
there instead of, and then 10 years later they think, why has nothing changed? Or there's always this yeah, but sometimes it's also taking this brave leap and then seeing how you change and transform and how you meet beautiful people. And yeah, I think that's amazing. But how did you start your breakthrough show network? Because it's a whole, you have different podcasts and you have a beautiful online community, and people can have a go into a meditation room. I think it's really amazing, like your vision and what you're, yeah, bringing into the world.
Thank you. Yeah, so I in to rewind for a minute, I was doing in 2010, my 24-year-old brother passed away from melanoma. And he was 4 years younger than me, and that hit me like a ton of bricks. Really, just I was there I literally walked into the ICU room when he took his last breath. At that very moment,
Yeah.
and so that changed me as a person, and I started to change my life in big ways. It had me looking at every aspect of my life, and I said to myself often, Jessica, what are you doing? What are these masks that you're wearing? And like you mentioned before, going forward and thinking things are changing, but they're not. They're just staying the same. And so I had kind of started on this quest for discovering what spirituality means to me, what health means to me, what human connection means to me. And I think people could tell over time that things were starting to change in me. And I was getting the question all the time of, what are you doing? Like, like, how are you juggling all of the things you are? you're different. Why? And all of that. And I came into the world of, kind of personal and spiritual development on my own, and then thought, well, if people are interested, then I'm happy to share what I'm doing. And I had started a mom's group and was kind of doing some different things with coaching and mentoring other people, specifically moms. And then in 2017, I was given the opportunity to write in a compilation of stories about specifically what had happened to me when my brother passed away and how that changed my life. And the book became a bestseller. It did really well, but there were things that happened behind the scenes where people start like there was healing that happened within me as I wrote the story.
Yeah.
And then there were people that had come to me that had also experienced my brother's passing, that said to me, wow, like I couldn't process that at the time. So thank you for writing about this because now I can process it. And then
Yeah.
there were new people reaching out to me going, I've been through grief too. Like I want to connect with you in that way. So it was just sort of like trifecta of things of healing that happened.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, I didn't have a plan of what what was going to happen after this
Yeah.
book, but I want to continue this, and how can I do this on a bigger scale? How can I reach more people? And I was, fun fact, as a young teenager, I loved all of the talk shows. I loved
Mhm.
Oprah. I loved Ricky Lake, Jenny
Yeah.
Jones, Geraldo, like Sally Jesse Raphael. I loved all of the talk shows. I used to pretend that I was Oprah Winfrey in my granny's
Yes.
basement, like all
I
of
love
these things.
that.
And
Yeah.
so I had been playing with live video, and I thought, this sounds like fun. Like I had a little like Monday morning mama thing I was doing for a while. And so ultimately that's how the breakthrough show itself was born. And not long after that, probably about a season and a half in, I started getting really sick and having more health issues. And I thought to myself, I built this audience, but now I have to step away sometimes. Maybe I could bring other people on to do their own shows and continue to nurture the audience. And ultimately, me getting sick was how the network was born. And it became like, we'll
Yeah.
just continue to add other people and add other shows. And then community has always been really important. So we have been through the ringer trying to find like the perfect platform for us to host a community, because sometimes, you and I will do these shows and we get into a topic and then we're kind of excited at the end, but then what?
Yeah.
Then like how do we implement that? How do we hold each other accountable? And community is, for me, the best way to do that. And so
Yeah.
we finally this year launched our virtual community, which is housed on our website. You don't have to go anywhere extra. You don't have to download another app. You don't
No.
have to do anything but putting your name, putting
Yes.
your name,
Yeah.
and then you're there. And it's a great way to take some of the concepts that we're talking about with personal and spiritual development, with
Mhm.
changing the world to the next level and actually implement them. So it's been a process since about 2017 or now, but it's
Yeah.
it continues to grow and inspire me every day. And I just hope it does the same for others.
But I love, and I think it's just a red line through all the stories I shared on the Soul Love podcast. Like sometimes the most challenging moments in our lives activate certain things, but when we're in this challenging moment, we don't see it. So your brother passing away, but also you then getting sick, like it opens up beautiful things. But in the moment, and sometimes this moment can be years, we don't see it. But things are growing and evolving. And when we truly allow, our soul is leading us, or the universe, God, source. It's also for me like when I had my Lyme and I healed from that, I felt like I wanted to share it. But like with energy work, you can really heal your physical body with changing your food, your diet, your mindset. I thought the world needs to know this. And that's also why I got inspired to start this whole journey where I'm on now, and this whole mission and purpose and all of that. And in that, things awaken, but it's also again by setting the first step. So you following this inspiration, like, okay, I started this mom group, And out of that, beautiful, like, but it's also understanding that some people don't take this first step. And then because we have this big vision, like, okay, maybe it needs to look like this, but it starts with baby steps. And through the baby steps, the bigger picture becomes clear, or suddenly new inspiration comes in that is aligned to make it bigger as you want. But it's not already like most of us. For some people, when you're starting a new project, it will immediately be this big vision you're having in your heart. But most of us are growing towards it. And it's also overcoming certain elements in our system, certain limiting beliefs and all of that. Yeah. I don't know what supported you to heal your illness in that journey, or
I'm still healing. There's a lot that hasn't been known. And I think ultimately that's how. So Project Joy is one of my other shows that I do, the one that you were
yeah.
on. And that Project Joy was born out of a literal, I mean, complete rock bottom. I had not been having any answers from physicians and not having a whole lot of luck, to be very honest with you. At the time, I was throwing everything at it, hoping it would stick. I was like sleeping with crystals and like praying and 50 different vitamins and all of these, changed my diet, changed my routine. I was throwing everything at it. And I think it was a place of overwhelm for
Mm.
myself. So that's a big cautionary tale that I like to tell people, like,
Yeah.
nice and slow is sometimes the way to go. But
Yeah.
I was in this place of frustration with not feeling better, not feeling like there was anything that I could do. And I literally am on the floor crying and saying to myself, I don't want to do anything else unless it brings me joy. Like, that's it, period. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And so I had sat down and I came up with 52 places in my life that I could seek joy. And that became the first 52 episodes of Project Joy.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And so it's my health and everything is still very much a work in progress. I feel like a long way to go. But for me, like, I'm so much more happy now and I'm so much more fulfilled. Even on the days that are hard, I try to remind myself that I am the joy. I
Yeah.
can choose it if I want. My outside circumstances don't determine whether or not joy exists. It's
Yeah.
there and I just get to pick it. And so that helps me through some times where the body takes a long time
Yeah.
sometimes
Okay.
to catch up to the spiritual and the mental and all of that.
Yes.
So
Yeah, but I love what you're sharing because it's a choice in like not per se what is happening with your body and all of it, but it's a choice like to what we desire to see. And I think it's also beautiful that as you create this project, you're also creating a certain accountability for yourself.
mm,
Because when we're allowing joy in, we're raising our vibration and also the processes in our body, in our system, like we make different chemicals even. So the healing goes more quicker and all of that. But still it's having compassion with ourselves, because also if you just look at the Schumann resonance and all what Earth is doing, the vibration, that also activates a lot in our physical body. And then we can feel like, what am I doing wrong or what is happening? But it's again coming back to compassion, love, and then maybe shifting to, okay, what can I be grateful for? Or how can I bring joy into this moment of challenge? And because that is really the way out. It's not staying in the vibration of what is happening. And that's a focus and a dedication. I see that in my own life, but also with everyone around me. It's really a choice. And it's not always an easy one, because it's not
right.
like we're so searching sometimes for this quick fix or this one pill that will help or this band-aid that's like, okay, but no, we're on this earthly journey, and we have a lot of slower vibrations or limiting beliefs that we have taken from the collective and from family lineage and all of that. And they're all speaking to us through our bodies and our emotions and all of that. But sometimes we don't understand the message. And then it's this journey of searching. Like it's almost like we're navigating without having an awareness of where we're navigating towards. And we can only be compassionate. So, but I love again how out of that these beautiful creations come, and also that however challenging your life, you're still choosing also to inspire others. And I think that's also beautiful, because it's not always easy. It's also like also these podcasts. Sometimes I have days where I feel very tired or where also I get challenged, but still I'm showing up because I feel like this is my contribution and I'm excited to share these conversations and it lifts me up. But before, I don't always have the energy to say like, okay, but that's what I love. And that's why I love your board as well in the beginning. We're all humans. That's the rawness of sharing this authentic heart shared conversation. It doesn't have to be perfect. And yeah, that. And I think that's an invitation for everyone. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be you and share what is happening, because in your story as well, you sharing in a book your story of your brother, you get to inspire others. And that's really powerful, because we're all going through our own challenges, and it's not something we see. Also, if you scroll through social media of all of that, like, you see the beauty, but if you really look forward, or you really go and talk to someone, you notice that they're also going through their challenges, because everyone is being activated at this moment. And yeah, totally.
Imagine what would happen if we stopped waiting for perfection before we did anything. Now,
Yeah,
that's not to say that we shouldn't ever issue some kind of like pause
no,
in what we're doing. I think I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression here, but imagine if we just allowed ourselves to be who we are and share what we know and share our experiences and tell our stories without waiting for some sort of perfection. I
yeah,
think even in the grief conversation, which is such a huge part of my story and how my platform was created, even as we talk about grief, so many people will think that in order to move forward that the grief somehow has to be gone. And
yeah,
that's not real life. That's not real life at all. So even in the grief conversation, you can have grief and you
yes,
can have challenges and you
yeah,
can experience all of the beauty, the sometimes really challenging and difficult beauty that life has to offer, and continue with those things. You don't have to be in a space of perfection or somehow like um things don't have to be perfectly aligned in order to be effective and change the world.
yeah, it is. But it's somehow, as you're sharing, I'm thinking about my father died when I was 8.
Mm.
And it's something as an adult, because as a child, as a young child, I could really share about my father's passing and what it did with me. At the end, my story came into a magazine, and people were always amazed about how I do that. But it's like, I think it's something that we, again, as coping mechanisms or something, get as adults, that we're suddenly not being able to share just what is happening, our experiences, our emotions, our feelings, just in the total openness, as the rawness, as we experience them. So it's really, but it's also understanding then that we're not only grieving, but also needing to let go of all these limitations, all these paradigms, all these, yeah. So it's almost like this sticky energy that then comes over it, instead of allowing just our heart to be expressed, because then also the grieving goes much quicker, because we can share and we can let the energy move. And yeah, but it's, I think, yeah. So everyone, an invitation to, even if you get to inspire one person, but it also is understanding that it helps you in processing, and it helps you in, yeah, and not being perfect. I think that's beautiful. And I also love, like, you shared it already in your like podcast, like you shared you're not per se a person who is organized and all of that, but I think it's like there are so many ways that we can learn ourselves to be
Yeah.
to create. Like for me, I'm dyslexic, but I also wrote 2 books. It's like we don't
Right.
have to limit ourselves with, again, what is what is this paradigm, or what is this belief about ourselves, or yeah,
If something's important to you in your life, you're going to find a way to do it.
yeah,
And even though I share like my bulletin board is an exact replica of my brain 90% of the time, it's also like I know that in order for me to stay focused on the things that are really important to me, that I did need to teach myself how to be organized, how to keep a
yeah,
calendar, how to show up on time and early for appointments and things like that. And are there times that I drop the ball? Absolutely. I'm a human being. However, I think I'm light years from where I used to be, and so much so that people have said to me, "You're such an organized person, Jessica." Thank you for sharing that I'm portraying exactly what I am not.
Yes, I
Because-
think that's amazing. Yes, but I think it's also, again, a beautiful, because sometimes we take our growth so for granted.
yeah.
But if you
Yes.
take a moment to, for now, pause and to look back where you were 5 years,
Mhm.
10 years back, and to already see the growth, because as humans, we're constantly so in the rush to grow even more, and there are a lot of things that we wish we could do and we're not yet able to, or we are still learning or discovering. But in that process of constantly looking forward, we forget like where we already are, and how, like, the changes we have made, the energies we've healed. And yeah, so also an acknowledgement of our past self so that we can even more powerfully step into the future we're creating. So
Yes.
I celebrate and honor you. So thank you.
Thank you.
If there was one thing like you would want to share as an advice to everyone tuning in, or
Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question. Okay, so I think I would just say to share who you are and share your story. Don't be afraid of. There's so many things that continue to still hold me back. From different things depending on the stories that we're telling about our lives, because I think, it's the knowing, it's the awareness that everybody processes certain circumstances in different ways. And so I know there were other people that experienced certain, some of these things that I've experienced, and saying like, is this the right time to share that story? But I think that anytime is a good time for you to share your story and to surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up through that process. Community is
yes,
so important. Like, we're better together, like everybody better together all the
yes,
time.
we do.
And so I think it's so important to share your story, but also be mindful of who you're surrounding yourselves with. And I would say finally, to going back to what I was saying before, give yourself some grace. There's not like an arrival. You're there for anything. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe that one day we're just enlightened, or one day we are all love or all joy or all peace. All of those things are moment to moment choices that we get to say, who am I being right in this moment? And
Mhm.
who do I get to be right in this moment? And then making that choice.
I think it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your light and your voice and stepping up into this space, and for all your beautiful creations. And I really want to invite everyone tuning in to check out the beautiful Breakthrough Show network and the beautiful online platform. And really, because I love, you have a meditation room and a work together room and an inspiration room. And you also have a beautiful room for your friend who passed away. I think that's a beautiful moment or memory of her energy and of her message. So I would say tune in and check it out. And for now, I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in, for being you, for sharing this sacred space and this sacred conversation. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. So for now, much love. Bye. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.